This case is about seeking justice for Sandra, who we believe was killed by Matthew Farwell.
This case has obviously been disturbing from the very start. Every single update that we hear, it manages to make it even more heartbreaking. Here's a quick reminder of who we're dealing with here. We of course have Matthew, who was indicted and charged with Sandra's murder. We then have his twin brother William, who was also a part of the local police department. Then we have Robert Devine, and there's also a new name that you'll be hearing, Joshua Heel. And he comes into the picture a little later on, and I'll get to him in just a little bit here. But I want you to remember that Matthew, William, and Robert were leaders in this department's Explorer program, the program that Sandra joined when she was just 13 years old. And this next update is about William particularly. In September of 2024, William agreed to permanently surrender his Massachusetts law enforcement certification. This was after the investigators found that he had lied about his relationship with Sandra because he had claimed that their last encounter was back in December of 2020, but text messages, they told a very different story. In fact, they told a story showing that the two of them had sex in January of 2021, just 3 weeks before Sandra was killed. Now next, we jump to June of 2025, because that month a closed-door hearing was held for Robert. When investigators first interviewed Robert, he claimed he had never communicated with Sandra online, and that he only had limited contact. But records later proved that he and Sandra exchanged messages on multiple occasions between November of 2020 and February of 2021, including ones that suggested that he even arranged to meet up with her for different sexual encounters, not only sex alone, but also during at least one of his shifts. In that same month, in June of 2025, it was confirmed through DNA testing that Matthew was not the father of the baby that Sandra was carrying when she died. Everybody thought this baby belonged to Matthew, that was his motive for murdering Sandra. So it just adds yet another layer of unanswered questions to an already devastating and heartbreaking case. And speaking of unanswered questions, this is where that other name that I mentioned earlier, Joshua Heel, finally starts to come into the picture. Joshua was accused of having a sexual relationship with Sandra as well when he worked as an animal control officer in Stoughton. Joshua was officially barred for life from ever serving as a law enforcement officer in Massachusetts. That decision came after he finally did admit to the investigators that he had had sex with Sandra. And he even confirmed one of the most disturbing rumors that had been circulating for years, which was that he had once exchanged a cat for oral sex. Guys, I don't think that this case gets any crazier. Who is paying for sex in the form of a cat, an animal?